Okay guys, good evening. So welcome to our 10th online session on our subject ITPE 1. So first things first, we have the lecture, the presentation, then afterwards, what we're going to have is the uh, question and answer, and then afterwards will be uh, our concerns with your examination last midterm. So that was last week. And so we'll be having the some concerns about this later on. So let me share to you my screen. And okay. So our topic for this evening is about application lifecycle. So we are now on your module 10, that is chapter 10. Okay, to start with, uh, our objectives for this evening are the following. So we have number 1 is to identify and explain application lifecycle. Number 2 is to appreciate the use of data structure in programming language for solving mathematical algebraic problems. And number 3 is to design, develop, implement, and test, debug a program using different testing levels and methods. So, first things first, applications lifecycle. So we have the following topic: ALM versus software development lifecycle, the integrated ALM, and the benefits of ALM. So for the ALM versus software development lifecycle, by the way, application lifecycle is the product lifecycle management, or that is the governance, the development, and maintenance of computer programs. So it encompasses requirements management, wherein we have the software architecture, the computer programming, software testing, software maintenance, change management, continuous integration, project management, and release management. So for ALM versus software development lifecycle, ALM is a broader perspective than software development lifecycle, or SDLC, systems lifecycle, software development lifecycle, no, or your SDLC. But your SDLC will be taken up in your subject, systems development, systems analysis and design. So we're going to have ano lang yun, just a phasing or the introduction for what is all about life cycles. So this is the integration, the coding, the testing, the configuration, the project management, and change management. It means that the ALM continues after development or until the application is no longer used or may span many SDLCs. That means to say, this is only a guide of your of the development of your software. So if we're going to develop a software, so that's it means that kailangan may plano kita. So this plan is your development lifecycle. So this is the step-by-step process wherein you have to observe the steps, and you cannot go to a certain part of your lifecycle without first determining the steps on the first stage, second stage. So just like a staircase, no? Sa hagdanan lang siya. So dapat pasaka ka mo isang step at a time. Hindi pwedeng alaktawan niyo ang isang step. Now, when we speak about integrated ALM, these are the modern software development processes that are not restricted to discrete steps. So this also give rise to the practice of integrated application lifecycle, or integrated ALM, where all tools and tool users are synchronized with each other throughout the application between development stages. So in this integration, it ensures that every the stages can be measured in terms of collaboration and real-time access for anything, just like your data repository, cross-tool and cross-project visibility, and better project monitoring and reporting are the key to develop quality software in less time. So take note, less time. Okay. So this integration ensures that every team member knows who, what, when, and why of any changes made during the development process. And there is no last-minute surprise causing delivery delays or project failure. Meaning to say, you have to follow the plan according to the things that you have talked about in your team. So this is a teamwork development. However, you are guided by a life cycle development process. So for the benefits of ALM, it provides direction, speed and agility, better decision making. So when we speak about provides direction, this means it saves time and money by avoiding costly mistakes and unneeded features. So take note that if you can finish the project on time, there will be less expenses. Pero if the project goes on and goes on without any nagalawig and galawig, pero di ka da. Because whenever you are extending the deadline, you take to account the expenses, ang gadugang ang gasto mo. For speed and agility, without ALM, teams could never produce software at the speed and agility needed to stay competitive. So integrated systems run more effectively and connected tool and process across multiple teams. So this means that integration improves the communication and help align software's objectives with business goals. And for better decision making, it helps to make decisions which in real time, and at the same time, these decisions are amplified when the business has multiple applications. So making them all very important. Okay, so that is your application lifecycle. For the requirements analysis, you can see on the diagram, it's a process input requirements analysis wherein it takes about into requirements loop, functional analysis and allocation, and design synthesis. So this involves around systems analysis and control, or the balance of the total development of the software. So this diagram will help you in determining what are you going to do, how are you going to do it, and what are the things needed for development. So I emphasize on the last one because it's part of the requirements analysis, or that is the per se of the requirements analysis. So for requirements analysis, it is critical to the success or the failure of the system or the software project. So the requirements should be documented, actionable, measurable, testable, traceable, and related to identify business needs or opportunities, and defined to a level of detail sufficient for system design. So it means that conceptually, requirements analysis includes 3 types of activity. May tatlo siyang activity. Number 1 is eliciting requirements, or you have to have a project charter or definition. So it must be your goals and objectives must be defined accordingly. Why? Because so that it will be true to all that the requirement is very much defined. You know your goal, and how to get into that goal. So that is eliciting requirements. The second one is recording requirements. For recording requirements, it may be documented in summary list and may include natural language documents such as use cases. These use cases are to be learned in your systems analysis and design, user stories, process specifications, and a variety of models, including data models. So for analyzing requirements, determining whether the stated requirements are very clear, completo siya, unduplicated, magkaliwat-liwat, concise, valid, consistent, and unambiguous. Unambiguous means malabo. So pareho kung yung pangaluyag ka, doon malabo gid. So prangkakon mo, sabto na ikaw, hindi manami na. Pati joke lang. So that is ambiguous. Meaning to say it's not clear, hindi siya clear. So it must be clear gid and concise. And resolving any apparent conflicts, kung may conflict siya, it means you have to troubleshoot the conflict first before going into conceptualization for the requirements. Why? Because if your requirements are not that complete, isala ka pa kada, kung din ka madto, kung mangita ka mo kada, ano yung baraklon, kung din it, kung hindi kompletong materials ang ginagamit mo, bilhin pang ulo mo din kang mangita kada. So it's a waste of time. It's a very waste of time kay mo da. That's why if you have a plan and or any requirement for development, maskin sa software development or sa hindi sa ibang project, it must be may paruros ka mo bla. What I mean is there must be someone who will take care of the loose ends. Like for example, mabakal ba paper, mangita ka, printer, ma-type ka, amuda. So, assign ka mo kay sa katao kada dyan. Kaya insa, as the plan goes on or the plan or the ongoing the project, while the project is going, it must be that you have a flexibility bala. Flexibility means flexible ka in case ka may madura or may makulang, may dyan kang gyapon nga buhaton. Plan B bala. So kung hindi na ka pagsabton, ano yung plan B mo? Letter A, mga luyag agad. Letter B, mangita duman kay bahan. Letter C, hindi anay pa, simpuhan lang anay. Pati joke lang. Okay, so madali. Okay. So for requirements analysis can be a long and tiring process during which many delicate psychological skills are involved. So no new changes or systems changes, like the environment and relationship between people. So it is important to identify or the stakeholders. Stakeholders are much be defined or kinanglan i-define yung isa. See, like for example, if you're on a team, what you're going to do is to assign a systems analyst kaninyo, isa, tanay leader ka na. So, ano yung ginaobra na? Hindi, huwag siya kasugo, ha? Nasugo-sugo lang. Hindi. Ang systems analyst must have a skill of a programmer. Kaya sa tanaga-oversee ka tanan nga ng processes. So, kamaan siya mag-program, kamaan siya mag-plano, kamaan siya mag-execute ka plano, kamaan siya kamaan siya kung pera ka adlaw obrahon ng project. Kamaan sa kung ano yung gastos nga gamiton or ang bili ka project. Kay ang first thing nga ginaano naton, mamaan nyo dahil sa project management din yung subject. Siyempre, if you have a software project, ang una mo gawin yung paminsaran, peray budget. Kaya sa ano yung ibahala yung mga materials like computer set, printer, what else? Internet nyo, internet time. Kag ang rent ninyo sa isa ka place kung software company ka mo. So those are the things that you need to consider. So an analyst, like for example, can employ several techniques to elicit requirements from the customer. Kung diin ang mas naming a process, ina-adapt niya. Kag ang kung diin ang hindi it critical, ginabuhi na niya. So that is a systems analyst. If you're a programmer in your team, the programmer must be a well-versed person in computer programs. So, siya nag-program din from top to finish. Ang this job is very tiring. Pinakakapoy. Kay, masakit sa mata. Kag, apat pa lang ka oras na nag-program ka, nag-babad mata mo sa screen, though medyo That is why, if you're a programmer in your team, it must be that you have another programmer man. Although nga pwede ka mo kabuslanay ka systems analyst ninyo, pwede ka mo ka-interchange. Like for sa first 4 hours, tana mo obra. First 4 hours, ikaw mo obra. After 4 hours, isa na naman ka classmate ang obra. So those are the things that you need to consider para dasig yung project. Tandaan ninyo, time is gold. So if you finish the project on time or before the time, it means you have a leeway of several perks like less expenses. Siyempre, or you can do another project. So mas productive kay duro ang maobra mo. Kay tapos ka doon. So hanggang multitask ka, duha ka obra ka ng inobra mo. Mas lasing matapos ang obra mo, mas duro ang pwede mo obra mo. So for requirements analysis also, you have a terminology like prototyping that may be used to develop an example system that can be demonstrated to stakeholders. A prototype is a certain project or thing or gadget or anything that is being prototypical, like it's a model It's not the project per se. It's not yet the finished product. Pero these are the things that you need to show to your customers or to your project stakeholders. These project stakeholders are the person who commissioned you to make a project, like a software development project. So like for example, in your locality, ginhambalan ka nga mag-ubra ka application nga mag-contact trace ka mga tao. So ang through QR code, pareho ka ginaobra ka Iloilo City. Nga do karon, di ba nag-login pakita kung mag-ato kita sa gaysan mo. Sulat-sulat pa ta. Kaya di ba ballpen nga ginagamit ang Pablo in inyo. So delikado gyapon kay nag-ano kita. So what if sabi sa may mo ka application sa cellphone sa Android phone, may QR code na ginagamit, may ngaran mo, may information kung ano dyan. So ang ginambutang nyo abi, ang ginalista ninyo sa gaisano, ang ngaran nyo, address nyo, edad nyo, kag telephone number kag ano. So instead nyo magsulat-sulat pa kamo, QR na lang. Then ano mo sa cellphone. Tapos ano sanda, magsulod sa establishment, i-scan lang da. Scan lang siya. Pag na-scan lang sa scanner, hindi mo kinanglan nga magsulat-sulat. Automatically, naman anda sa mo dyan oras, nagsulod ka sa isano. Tapos pagkuha mo, mas-scan liwat. Tapos, man mo oras, nagkuha ka duman. So those are the things that you need to consider. So that is an example. It's a prototype. It's not yet, you have to create lang it depends upon trial and error if that your application is successful or not. So that is an example. So for your activity number 23, is fact check 23. So hindi ka mo magkalaw ha. Kaya mo dinara na. This one is you have to answer the question. And you have like for example, number 1, what are the advantages and disadvantages of requirements analysis? What you're going to do is to research this, and you're going to write it in a paragraph form sa inyong word processor, Microsoft Word, and you have to write it at least 300 words. That's for number 1. For number 2, you go to you read it, like refer to figure 18 in your module. So you have to explain the role of requirements analysis in software engineering and write a comprehensive report excuse me, of its role. So you have to do that at least 200 words. And number 3, in your own understanding, the requirements analysis is the burden of software development. So you have to answer these questions, okay? That is your activity number 23. After answering this and writing your answers in your word processor, you save it as activity 23 and then upload it to your Google Classroom, okay? So next topic is design process. Then for design process, we have the rational model. On rational model, what do you mean when you speak about rational model? This means the rational model is basically it is based solely on rationalist philosophy and underlies the literature wherein, according to that philosophy, design is informed by research and knowledge in a predictable and controlled manner. So everything that you can see on a certain project can be made through a design process. So like, for example, in your team, you have a designer that is, hindi designer ka mong bio or ano ha. Pero siya ang nag-design ka interface ninyo sa system. Like, example, ang ginaobra ka programmer niyo, nag-program lang siya. Coding yun mismo obrahan. Kung designer ka, ang obrahan mo kada is, example, ikaw maobra ka ng mga windows, ng mga text boxes, kag mga command button na pinduton sa atubang ka. So, it means to say that if you're a designer, a computer designer, what you're going to do, is to design the interface. So kung ano yung tsura ka kay inyong system, ikaw nagahimo da. So ikaw nagapagwapo pa system ninyo. Kaya ang ano mo ginaobra is front end. Ang ginaobra tanang programmer is back end. So behind the scenes tanada. Hardcore tanada ang mga programmer, mga maara mo tanang mag problem solving. Ikaw mo, pamaanatin mo aesthetics. Ganito kasi, kung notice ninyo mga classmate para make-up, para lipstick, so aesthetics da. Kaya insan ginay mo ng dada. Pero para magwapasan da, para makita da sa makita niyo, magwapahan ka mo kananda. So mo da. Ikaw mo model brown mo. Instead of doing makeup, what we're going to do kung designer ka sa team ninyo is to design ang interface again. Kung ano tsura na. So, hindi mo pag-makeup pa ha. Ang brown mo is designan mo nga manami man niya color scheme na, hindi masilaw, yung text, nagagawa. So, those are the things that you need to consider. So, that is an example of design process. Not only with the text, but also with the what's the next step na after na pindot mo ang isa kong button, mag-transfer sa lain na window. Ikaw pa kada ma-design. So, ano, medyo OT siya. It takes time. And trial and error kung magustuhan pa inyong clients. So, for the, that is the example of your rational model. Okay. The next one is example sequence of stage. So we have 4 sequences. Number 1 is pre-production design. And then the second one is design during production. The third is post-production design feedback for future designs. And the last one is redesign. So let's tackle all of these things. For pre-production design, what we're going to do is to design simple statements of design goals. You have to know design goals or statements. That is the impression wherein ang una nyo makita sa screen kapag open yung system ninyo. So tandaan niyo, how are you going to interface with your design software? Double-click ka mo sa desktop. So when you're going to do that, the first thing that you can see is the design. That is the pre-production design. So another thing is analysis. You have to analyze your current design goals. What do you mean by that? You have to know kung ano yung ideal design. Base wag sinanto yung color, wag sinanto yung lines, yung squares, yung borders. So ano color nanda, ano yung color ka text. So kinanglan i-analyze mo gina. Number 3 is research. Kung hindi ka kamaan kung ano kada, research ka kakabagay or gusto ka ano nyo inyong clients. Like for example, interviewon siya, sir, ano gusto mo nga font? Ano yung gusto mo nga hanggot gamay, lapad, ang makita lagi, ang mabasahan. So mo that. You have to know that. Then you have to know also the specifications. These are the requirements of the design solution of the product. Specify kung ano yung font, ano ka taas, ano niya. So kung pindutan mo ang button na ano yung magawa dyan, warning, may graphics, so may bata nga nagasaot. So those are the things that you need to consider. So that is specifications, i-daan yung gida isa-isa. And then another one is problem solving. Pero this one, that is conceptualizing and documenting design solutions. Sa design na naman siya, hindi sa program side. I know that sa programmer, kung nakamana siya mag-problem solve, kaya daw 1 + 1 lang daan na ang coding. Pero ang problem solving sa design is kailangan man-an mo kung ano yung mag-conceptualize kung mag-document ka design solutions na pwede mo Pero ang the last one is the presentation, wherein you have to present the design solutions. Okay. Number 2 is design during production. How are you going to do this? Development. The development must be continuation and improve the design solution. It must be continuous ang pag-develop. So medyo trial and error ka. Basta wala lang siya lag. Kasi bila pag mo pindot ka ng kagi para mo ang program pagkasunod niya segundo or 90 seconds wala nga nag-aanda. nag-hang lagi. Hindi pwede daw tabo. Kaya paano na gamiton, ano na minami gid mo. Pero loaded kag graphics, dobla. So, ang pinaka ano gid is simplicity, no? Ang balikan is simple is beautiful. So, dapat simplify nyo ang tanan sa development. Parang before ka mo magtao kadang aesthetics, mamanaan nyo nagagana doon daan niya program. And then testing. This is in lieu of the design solutions. Before design solution, test mo doon daan anay. So number 3, for the post-production design feature, feedback of the feature designs, this is part of the implementation. So this is the introduction of this design solution into the environment implementation. So trial and error, present mo sa client, sir, ayaw ko feedback mo, ano yung mahambal mo kaginugla ko, sir, para nga readable ay handa sa mga tao magamit ka dyan. Tandaan ninyo, nag-develop ko mga software, hindi para sa inyo nga kaugalingon nga gusto. Nag-design ka mo para sa client ninyo. Sana imusunod ka da kung ano yan namian na pwede kasulod sa interface. Kaya tanang magamit ka software ninyo mo. So like for example, mag-develop ka mo ng contact tracing app. Pwede ay handa sa cellphone, pwede ay handa sa tablet, pwede ay handa sa ano. So, consider na ang mga situations sa para kada students na dapat flexible ang ginhimo ninyong applications. So, how are you going to do that? That is an implementation. So, you have to introduce the design solution into the environment. So, lataw niya na kung okay ka nanda. Kung okay, get. Kung hindi, di ba kung ka nanda. And then evaluation and conclusion. For evaluation and conclusion, these are the summary of processes and results. You have to document everything, so including constructive criticisms and suggestions of future designs. Hindi mo, kung ipakritik nyo bala sa client, hindi nyo personal ang nga ginahambal ka ninyo. I mean to say, suggest yan na isanda para nga mamanaan kung ano gusto nila. Isanda magamit ka software. And then the last one for the redesign is all the stages design process repeated. Pero you have to have corrections all over again. So, okay. Okay, let's go to criticisms of the rational model. For criticisms, these are the feedbacks. And for the action-centered, not yet, go back. Oh my God, wait lang. So for the action-centric model, this is the type of process wherein it is based on the empiricist philosophy and body system with the agile approach. I mean, the agile means the sigay. So like the rational model, the action-centric model is designed as informed by research and knowledge. So you must have research and knowledge that is brought into design process through judgment and common sense of designers. Common sense of designers meaning it follows a certain corrective action or a valid reason why is it you put that kind of design into your software. So for activity 24, okay. For the activity number 24, fact check 24, you have to answer these questions, no? And then you're going to upload it to your Google Classroom. Kung manotice ninyo students, there's no deadline of your activity number 23, 24, 25 because lima siya kabilog karon. So later on, just what's this? Comply with the students with the questions in your activity for this week. So for software development, we have the general stages of development. Number 1 is analyzing the problem. And then number 2, you have the market research. For analyzing the problem, you have to know it before you start your implementations or design. For whatever things that you need to consider, you have to analyze the problem first. Then research. What are you going to research? Is it feasible? Is it applicable? Is it timely? Timely means karon ng pandemic, magamit ko dayhan ang software nila. Contact tracing app. Siyempre. So the gathering requirements for the proposed business solutions, that is Very, very taxing. So you need to take time to do this regarding of the requirements. For the plan naman, pwede nyo doon isabay sa gathering sa requirements. While gagather ka mo ka requirements, plano doon mo ko na na-obrahon nyo. So, like for example, in your team, kay sa software development, hindi pwede nga isa lang din mo. Dapat may team ikaw. Ang core team ninyo is apat kabilog na tao. System analyst, programmer, designer, and ang all-around ninyong mga tao. Ang all-around na tao nga dayo ay dyan nagpangapil lang kung kung ano doon, kung gabi nga nag-ano doon, ay na sa team na kape, kag nag-inom kape ka magturog. Ang ginaubra niya is to support the systems analyst and the programmer. So, samtang ang programmer niya nagpapahuway, tanan duman nag-program. Kung may ginaubra ang systems analyst, kag ang balon nga photocopy mo dayon document, ikaw to photocopy. Or ikaw yung errand boy. Like for example, kulang mo band paper. So ikaw tayo bakal band paper. So everybody has its own role. Kaya dapat ninyo na i-take into account gid kay kung mag thesis na kamo students mag 4th year. So maano nyo gid siya, ma-appreciate nyo gid kag man-an nyo doon no buhaton niyo. Okay. So number 5 is implementation of the coding of the software. Number 6 is testing. Number 7 is deployment, and number 8 is the maintenance and bug fixing. So this is the stages of your software development. It might be true that you can use it all of the 8 stages, pero may dyan abing itawag ng agile programming nung nasigay siya. Gina-bypass doon ang ibang stages. Ginahin mo lang kung expert do ka mga programmers or expert do ka mga gahin mo sa software. Pag naka-experience do ka mga project ang itawag sa isa company na. So I'm hoping that actually all of these things can be learned also in your systems analysis and design subject. So that's why this is only a supplemental discussion. For fact check number 25, all you have to do is to answer this. What is the software development process? How does it follow your role in state? You have to research this, at least 500 words, number 2 and number 3, then upload this to your Google Classroom. So for software testing, we have the box approach. Okay, in the diagram you have the input and output in the black box testing. So this is the IPO diagram of your black box test. When you speak about white box, this is the most common used. The pinaka-common used na white box test. So sa testing method, gagamit kita ISO 9395 ata. This is the standard of all testing approach, meaning say you have to follow it one by one for testing results. This white box test. Ang black box naman is ang ginatawag natin nga reverse engineering. So kung ma-notice niyo ang China, di ba sandagin nag-copy ka mga pati yung mga alin sa mga cellphones, so mga i-approach na kada is na reverse engineering na ang saka mga iPhone na. That's why nga may mga duro ng Chinese phone companies which is manami kay ang quality nga design man sa anak ka iPhone bala. Pero that's why you know ang things na ginaan ng dadayan. Pero there are certain limits and conditions. One of that is the mga microchips ginagamit. Hindi pa pwede kay property data Apple. So nag-device tanda ka mga microchips, mga Snapdragon. So mga ibang pagit na other manufacturers sa mga cellphones. So that is why China is the ultimate because of their testing capability. Kumaan sila mag-test. Gagamit sa the black box and white box na approach. So more of this testing is topic of your systems analysis and design. Although we need to take to consider the software test. Okay, may ginatawag makita na gray box test wherein this is the half white and half black tests. I to say na conventional test ka at the same time nag-reverse engineer ka. because gina-id mo kung ano yung mga parts na kinanglan. Tandaan ninyo, students, white original na coding. Kamu gani, di ba? Maskin sa akatang activity di gani. What we're going to do, or what we did, is to put the procedures and the codes in your module. Then afterwards, copy ninyo, pag na-test. So, gina-encode ninyo, pag gina-paran ang program. Then for activity number 26, you just check out a fact check 23, take questions. And then another topic is release management. So this only is the topics that you can see here is the relationship with continuous delivery, DevOps, and agile software development. If you're going to deep dive on this, medyo dalming na yung topic. Pero for your information lang, release management is just the compromise of the management of the software. Similarly, you don't need to consider this. Kay ang kakabo kadaya is in the company doon. Kita tatong estudyante pa lang kita. So just don't worry about this. Another one is the relationship with enterprise service management. That's why I'm talking about. These are the company policies in management of the software. So management side daya doon, hindi doon sa mga development na anbit. Although topic. For fact check 27, just check out this and upload it to your Google Classroom, okay? I think this is the last slide. So add Astra and jump to the stars to knowledge. So thank you, students. Thank you so much. And good evening. Okay, so hello, let me greet 21 of you students. 20, isa na ba? Good evening, guys. We started at 7:30, at 7:35 prompt. And I'm very satisfied with your students, with your examinations and with your midterm exam. Although some of you might consider mag-retake pagid exam ninyo kay medyo manabagawang scores. Pero other than that, kalabanan ka ninyo, okay, good. So, by the way, good evening, guys. How are you doing? And this is our meeting for the 10th time. So, medyo and then I would like to discuss some of the things about, so first things first, please ask questions regarding our activity and our topic for this evening, Anay. Then we're going to jump to our next next discussion, which will be your exam or may mga reactions about the exam. Okay, guys. If you're not too keen of asking question, you can write it on our chat box. Pero if you're very free to speak out loud kung ano yung gusto niyo ipamahagi. Okay, shout out lang kay sino yung mga tao dito karon gabi. Shout out kay Aisa, kay Alena, kay Andrea, kay Angelo, kay Bredin Zan, kay Clea May, kay Ezekiel, kay Pearl June, kay Henry, kay Jericho, kay Joylyn, kay Juliet, kay Makwan, kay Pearl Joy, kay Rhoda May, kay Ronella Marie, kay Rose Ann, Arellano, kag Balsena. Rosemate, si Rosemate na isagali. Kay si Rose Ann, kay Vincent. Si Charles, why? Why is it Charles? Ay, sir, good evening kay Andrea. Pwede maayo 500 words mo? Pwede man Pwede mas na namin at 400, 500 words kid. Makita niyo mga word counter kung ka mo student sa inyo bilang Microsoft Word. Makita niyo di ayad ang counter diyan. So kung i-open niyo siya, i-word niyo like for example, let me lang. What's the counter? Makita ko na niyo. Save. Okay. So like for example, if you're going to double click your Microsoft Word, Na. Okay, so you have the blank document here. When you open nyo siya, then you're going to type any word. So like for example, the quick brown fox. Okay, ano? Okay. Medyo may. So the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. So period. So kung may statement pa mong daya mo dyan, you can see the this one. So this is your word counter. So makita nyo, ano ko word yan. So kung sulat ko ka sentence, 500 words, makita nyo na din yung ano kung 500 na siya. Kung sulat ko ninyo. So mo da. Okay? Sige. Okay. What else do we need to discuss about? Let's have another topic. 2015, 250 lang abi. Ito nga. Diba? Grabe man. Kaya nyo the students? 500 words. Kaya na. Oo. Why that deadline, kay Clea, why deadline, okay ko ginbatangan deadline, kay man ano ko, nga duro ya, ano nyo for this week. Duro ya, ano, 5 kabilog, 5 ka-activity, gid. Okay, what else pa? What else pa? Please ask question, guys, regarding our activity, Abe, Anay. Okay, by the way, I'm going to post lang for this ano na for this term, your final. Kundi activity 10 lang anay na post ko sa Google Classroom. I-post ko na lang siguro tanan para nga if ever ang tanan nyo mo doon, makita doon tanan ng chapters. Chapter 18. So may siyang pakabilog na ano na weeks na ma-meet kita. Para nga ma-speed up yung tanan natin nga brown, like for example, ang ginobra kaninyo kay mga teachers nyo bilang yung bilog doon nga ng module, ginadakot na ginagawa nyo lang. Ako no pressure lang gid anytime nga pwede ninyo. Pwede madang every week latin nyo mag-open kung ano may chapter number makita. No karon ikapulo doon. Pero i-post ko lang gid so that anytime na if you want to advance, pwede ninyo magbara lagi mga activities niyo. Okay? So eventually ma-research ng kaanay and then mabalik ko makita sa programming siguro mga pira ka weeks. So para maiba naman, hindi lang sagad program doon. Research naman, may dara makita nga research kaliman pwede nato. Ang manaan ko lang kiti ako ng ubra ka module na daya. Sa ano nga daya sa unit nga da, puro research da. So mga ano paguro, 3 pa kasi mana guro puro research. Then after kada balik na kita sa programming or sa ibang pag-ino program. Ano da? Okay, ang ano gali, ang sa waay ka buol ka exam sa midterm kay may mga gusto ta kamo daan na istorya tulad nga gabi kung ano yung problema isa nga waay ka mo ka buol ka exam. Mind you guys, ang ano ko lang yan is for example kung first time na nag-buol ka exam kag hindi mo ka buol, okay lang. Okay. Kasi na-consider naman mo yan ano ninyo. Pero at least sa ikadawang pag-attempt nyo, hasta lang yung limit natin para nga at least hagan-hagan yung ano, yung integrity examination. Ginahalungan ko lang yung integrity exam kay para iwas cheating, kag iwas iba tagid nga mga factors no na naprotektaran ko lang ano ka exam kag ang ano niya. Ang ano naman, ikatlong attempt, amo daw yung istorya, gusto ko pamudad na istorya kada, ay hindi doon ako mag-post ka link ka examination. Tama, dugit ka expose ng exam ko na amo daw. So, yung obrohan natin is, Buloon ulitin yun kaya face-to-face yun. Kaya exam. Pero ITE may hindi pa pwede ka face-to-face tulad. Why ako kumaan kung saan ako maduman ka ball ka exam. Ya mahimo nyo naton lang, mas schedule lang gigita ka time. Kay sa eskwelahan guys, hindi ka magpapasagod sa ano ninyo. Sa ano sa eskwelahan na bawal gito yung face to face. Sabi hasta lang kamo sa guardhouse. Magbuod ka modules kag iban yung pagid nga kinahanglanon. Hasta lang kamo sa guardhouse. Pero solution ko lang na nakita is pangayo latin yung abi ka certificate sa inyo nga barangay nga wala kamo nga COVID free kamo kag mangita kita ka isa ka lugar nga pwede ninyo atunan nga tuwan ta mo ka exam. So this written exam written examination and then dara ka mo ban paper kag ano kay hindi ka mo ka bakal ka ano ka test booklet dala ka mo lang kalong tapos ano lang naton ka stapler at least mga 5 ka man paper no para duro para lawig kag at the same time stapler lang naton kag imuan kadang ano daw test booklet sa kag mangita kita ka lugar nga pwede naton ano yung most probably gid lang kadang solution kay lima man lang kamo dala kamo sa balay diretso kay hindi ka mo pa eskwelahan. So garing kinahanglan ko yung certificate ninyo nga wala kamo at COVID sa ano ngayon lang kamo sa barangay nyo magataom lang sa sanda protection yung mandag yapon guys kay ano ganito like for example kung may iba na nga lugar nga ano COVID ano pa na naka-lockdown so kung amo da hindi pwede hindi na ko mag-adto diya hindi pwede mo kagdayon kung sa mga ano transportation kag kasi mabudlan mo or ang that's why nga kinahanglan ma-set kita ka time na so this is also a lesson for you nga next time don't ano na lang siguro kung may problema sa email ang bala niyo ko lagi kag ano kay that edo ninyo yung ginagamit na ito ng accounts na dapat nato gamiton kaya mo daging assign kaninyo na ano naton para nga all ano lang bala integrated bala tanan-tanan doon dayan doon sa that edo ninyo account na so hambal ni sino na ito naghahambal? Henderia, umubos kinilo naman yung English, sir. Ay. Hindi nyo na pagkiluha. Ibutang nyo lang sa sako doon. Kagigtan, yung English nyo. Okay lang na students. Okay lang na kung kinamati sa English nyo. Basta ma-English lang. Mas namin pagkakanig yung English nyo sa mga Arabo. Na. Okay lang na students just ano lang yun I appreciate your effort lang siguro no sa pagiging mo ng assignment ninyo activity don't worry because you don't have any ano man deadline so you can do it anytime man. Pero hindi nyo pagpabayaan ha ano niya pag obra ka assignment ninyo nosebleed lang okay ano pag ano pa pwede ang comment niyo guys para maiba naman pro program man niya ano naton mo kag sa topic naton guys hindi kita ka program kay puro diagramming puro diagramming so ang kay Ferrell garing to insa nga way gaganay ano nyo that edu ay garing lang wala pa akong ma-refer kay Sir Dave kontakan nyo si Sir Dave Perel John tuya ka mo mangkot ka na parties ng that edu nyo kay tanaya ano naton tanay ano naton di sa eskwelahan
Okay to, sir?
nagapang okay doon. Ati insa niya ka pag isang wala gidaan.
O, kay
Tulad ng
Kim
gana.
Pacheco ligad kay Kim Pacheco ligad kay Ma'am Bolnes, sir. Kay
Oo.
way traga cooperate. Titong ligad
Yeah.
pagatag mo pagat, pagatag mo ka exam sang Friday
Oo.
wala man nagana. Ti isang Monday nga nagatag si Ma'am Bolnes kanako ka exam. Gipa-check na to sa ISCOF kay kadtunan kadaad kaso ambal ni Ma'am Bolnes hindi ko na pagkatunan kay tanala
Oo.
bahala.
Oo. Amo
Ti
daya imo
subong okay
naton.
na.
Ate okay good. Oo. Sige sige. Okay good. Thank you, thank you. Maan tada sa sunod kung mag-ball ka duman ka exam, okay doon. Amo gid man guys kung like for example when possible man nga waay daan ni waay nyo abi matestingan gid puro base waay nyo bilagin configure isa niya password or ano nyo gid bala configure bala nga ginagamit gid. So suggestion ko gamitan nyo gid that edon perming account para nga hindi para manaan nyo permi siya gagana. Remember ga-exam bala kita sa 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 ISCOF ninyo nga so so please yun may mga feature kita sa Google na pwede nyo magamit nga libre. Mo isa ka advantage pag yun sa ninyo. Why ka mo kamaan nga that edu naton nga account bakal pa na ka-eskwelahan para gid ka ninyo. So man andang kita mo. That's why nga gamitan ninyo guys, gamitan gid ninyo. So sige lang kontak-konta lang kamong 5 or may manog retake man abi. Ang na-post ko dito sa inyo nga GC doon kung sino. Kay may cut off naton abi guys, mga 70 at least 75% mo. So daad yung mga nagba gid bala ipa-retake ta kamo gid guro. Ha? Sige, dawagon ko guro kung sino yung ma-retake no.
Sir.
Yes.
Pira gid ya sir, pira gid ya passing nga score?
75.
Okay sir, thank you.
Yes. 75% abi. So 75 passing score naton guys out of 100. So medyo gawa no? Kasi siyam ambi ka although gina-consider ko man yung iba yung gid ang mga rapid gabala sa ang rapid sa sa cut off why ko dugin pa-take or kay hamapos na the round off ang hindi kita na round off na scores dahil mas 60 plus panaog hindi theoretically hindi kita guys mag although pwede niyo man mambal nga lang 50% abi ka guys hindi ko kita high school college no kita so 75% guys again kung nga score although ma-retake mo lang kamo kada way problema ma-retake mo lang kada galing ti ma-retake ka lang kung hindi ti mo mag-retake ti mo man gyapon grade mo standing na sige next week I'll be releasing your standing kung standing ka mo pati includes ang exam naton pati yung mga activity ninyo para mamanaan ninyo guys kung din ka mo doon pwede kung ano yung grade ninyo bla tentative hindi that final grade ginadiwat ko tentative lang meaning para mamanaan nyo tulad nga midterm kung diin ka mo asta doon kag pala ang mga nakapasa nyo kag pila grade nga equivalent kada kung tawan ka mo kag grade nga tulad. Pero syempre, yung final grade ninyo sa final after ka final exam. Naintindihan guys? So tentative lang tuyak ko lang, dali lang ta. Tuyak ko i-post sa ninyo sa GC lang. Okay? Sige. Kag pwede ka maka-comment sa session nato sa session 11 next week. Sige. Yes, Danica, may hambal ikaw? Danica. Hello. Okay man. Sige, sige. Ano pa guys? Yeah, ano naton? Yeah, for this evening. Lang tawalan niyo sa GC guys kung tuyan ito nakalist ang ang names sa students nga why pa kabuol kag ang ma-retake. Schedule pa lang kamo ha. So probably next week or next week. Don't worry about it. Just continue doing your activity. Doon din sagad ka pa nung da. Ano lang niyo. I-take this as fun subject lang. Wala pressure balaw. I know nga sa iba ninyo mga subject may mga man kamo abi. Tumuda. Okay? Na-quarantine pa ikaw to? Inside na quarantine ikaw ha? Kay Ferrell dyan din ikaw do karon sa Pasay. Mayaman ko abi Pasay medyo hotspot pa eh. So kung na-quarantine ka mo tulad, hindi nyo lang pagkrita nga mag-adto din mo bukas exam ha. Hindi ko managid hindi nila na pagpanumdumon na ya exam nga daya. Anyway, midterm pa man lang, standing man lang daga hindi ma-delay latin nyo gid amo lang da. Unlike sa classmate ninyo, pwede ko dasan na automatic matagaan do ka grade sa sa midterm. So mo da. Hindi man daw mag-apekto sa grade niyo sa finals. Mapekto lang da kung na ba score nyo na kung na ba score nyo ti mapekto gid. That's why nga kinanglan kay iba nga mga retake ay nandang malabot ang minimum na na points para sa midterm na next exam. Ano yung basihan ko kung pataas o grade nyo, hindi pwede. So otherwise, tawan ko lang itsanda ka 3. Ang buwan na. Hindi ko man gusto dahil mo. That's why nga ma-retake ka mo. So yun lang tawalan nyo nga rin kasi hindi ko lang paglawagon. Hindi do kauya, mandangan lawagon. So yun lang tawalan nyo lang sa sa may. Okay, I think that is all for this evening. Kung daw ay makamangkot guys or comment, may pa-shoutout ka mo dyan.
Shoutout sir.
Ay sino? Kay Crash? Mo? Asan yan? Hanggang pamati di.
Good evening sir.
To. Good evening man. Okay, take your yaman ko gani. Take your just take your attendance now. Kag i-upload it to your to our Google Classroom nga. Uy, cake niya sino birthday? Na
1 year ka baby namo sir.
Tikiting nyo dyan.
Happy birthday, baby!
Ako, actually, kantahin nyo yung happy birthday siya. Pero actually,
birthday man sir,
bago lang
ka nga paklibar.
Sige, kantahan na to si Danica.
Happy birthday.
Birthday to you.
Pero masadya kong masabok.
Birthday mo ka nanay ko tulad. Diyan sa balay, may kalamay hati kami diyan.
Happy birthday kay mami mo.
Happy birthday kay nanay.
Happy birthday sir.
Oo. Thank you. May kalamay hati, lagaring amon din.
Thank you. Happy birthday kay nanay.
Thank you. Happy birthday nyo. Happy birthday man.
Mama, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Ni Vincent, sir.
Agtang na kita. Ano sa Vincent?
Okay sir.
Duro handa na dyan, sir.
Ulog.
Sir Doro.
Tika ninyo, ito na. Ano handa nyo dyan, hay?
Duro, gila pa yun.
Jollibee tapon sir 1.
Jollibee, masumpod ni Jollibee doon. Masumpod. May lang nga yung bitaron ko Jollibee sa Dasong Semana diyan.
Sana sir, mato ko dyan.
Sir, pwede special exam na sir online.
Hindi pwede special exams online. Sorry. Dang kadua ko lang ka beses the guys nga kinanglan nga post. Hindi ko doon maliwat-liwat katatlo nga beses. Hindi pwede doon may link Bukod lang mahapos, abi mo mahapos lang mag-ubra. Kawa ano to 100 nga multiple choice nga Google Forms, maluoy ka makanapon.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Oo. Sige lang. Di niya quarantine facility mo?
Sa balay la, sir.
Na home quarantine din nga lugar ka mo?
Pase.
Okay, sige. No, doon naman ko ginmanda, may pasi medyo ano ka tagilid doon paron nga ano. Sabay pa magmayad la diyan ya ano na sitwasyon. Ano lang burbay kun wala doon iti amo da. Ano naman na. Hindi nila sagad ka paminsar. O ay man iti pressure.
Sige sir, salamat sir. Salamat Shopee.
Okay guys, sige. Ano nyo doon? Pagwaan nyo dyan, tsura nyo, kag ano doon, sige doon, para maka-record,
Leo.
kag malantaw, liwat sa ano ninyo.
Comment, pakalbo ka doon. Pakalbo doon, Leo sir.
Labog doon ang buhok ni Leo.
Kalbo. Pamugot yung boxer, oh.
Naga-braid ka mo. Ina-braid mo yung buhok mo.
So kalabanan ka magapakalbo sir, daw gwapo.
Nagakuro, ginman tanay buhok mo. Dito, nagligad. Bago ko lang
Ay
notice
sir, kung ginpakuron kay Mato sir.
Oo.
Yeah. Ano?
Hindi gwapo tato sir si Leo Mamaraway.
Daw itlog ya buhok ni Ambo.
Okay, sige. Sige doon, ano lang dyan. Good evening, kaya sa tanan nyo. Tapos panimalay ninyo. Pag ano guys, don't forget your concerns with your GC lang or direct PM me sa ano natin, ha? Ang hotline. Ang hotline ko sa number, sa module bala, kung may contact number ako. I'm sorry, hindi niyo ko pwede matawagan, anay tulad nga si Mana. Medyo busy gid. Pwede niyo ko ma-text lang gid. Kung gusto niyo kong i-text sa dang number nga to. Ang ano lang gid, concern lang gid sa eskwelahan na, sa online nato. Pero pwede kung may kung may Facebook Messenger, PM niyo ko direkta. Kay permi na naka-open lang. Okay guys, amo lang na reminder ko. Good evening sa tanan. Bye-bye doon. Good night.
Bye-bye sir.
Bye. See you next time. Thank you for attending.
Bye.
Good night, guys. Good night. Thank you for attending again. Okay. Sige, bye. Don't forget to ask your classmates to Okay, bye-bye. Don't forget to ask your classmates to look for the replay of this recording, right? Sa YouTube. Para makita naman na gina-istorya natin diyan. Sige. Salamat sa tanan. Sige, bye-bye. Ayos.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. May dyan, sa Kalinog, Hasta sa Kalinog, nag-broadcast kita sa Kalinog.
Diyan ko sa Enrique, ito karon sir.
Diyan ka sa, abi ko sa Kalinog, ka?
Oh, ito malagaw.
Diyan na balita, diyan bukay.
Why ako diyan naman sa Lilo ko. Paano ako gaga pa. Permi sa eskwelahan. Permi, doon si Mana. Doon si Mana. Hindi, gali kasulod gid man, no. Basta na sir, no. Sa guard house lata daan kita na gari way patat ano. Alang. Sige. Okay guys, good evening lang.
Shopee 11.
12 dosunod. Duman. May comment pa dito lang sa ako. Okay, wait naman. Okay, sige. Bye-bye guys. Thank you. Okay.
Bye sir.
Stop ko dun recording. Bye-bye guys. Stop ko dun recording.
Good night, sir.
Good night.
John, halong dyan sa na-quarantinan mo, John.